say, to avoid the pain and vulnerability that may result when their efforts to achieve connection are unsuccessful, is why we start avoiding love. So, is everyone with me till now? Is everyone getting what I'm saying? Yes. Is there any particular question regarding what we've discussed so far?
I have one question, Neha.
Huh?
I used to think that exactly opposite to fear is faith.
Faith is love,
Oh.
and love is faith. Hmm. Okay. So, yeah. So, fear. Now, how does fear tend to manifest in us? And now I'm talking more specifically about romantic relationships. So let me say there are two major ways in which fear manifests in us. The first one I'll explain with the help of my friend. So she said to me that, I've tried and tried. The first time I was married, uh, I was in a physically abusive relationship. I got divorced. I got married again. That time, the husband was cheating on me. But again and again, every time I try, I'm not able to form genuine relationship. So now I've started to believe that this is not in my luck. It's not a part of my kismet. And why should I run after something which is not a part of my luck? So I've decided I'm not even going to try and find love. So this is the first major manifestation of fear, that I've been hurt enough. And I've consciously decided I don't want this thing called love in my life. So that's chances are now, anyway, she's meeting someone who may look like there is any attraction, any future between the two of them. The fear will tell her, stay away, you'll get hurt again. The same fear, the block, can come across also in another way where it is more subconscious. So when it is more subconscious, uh, the person might say, I'm still hoping to find love. I'm still hoping to meet somebody with whom I can share the feelings of mutual love and intimacy. However, this person does not even realize, and when love comes in or a relationship is formed, their behavior is such that they're actually pushing the love away. So, for instance, somebody I know who was in a perfectly fine relationship suddenly decides to go and cheat on the spouse for no reason, just a random one night stand, which leads to no sort of actual sense of gratification for the cheater also. But there was a need to hold back, a need to protect oneself, a need to feel I'm not so madly in love with this other person. I want to take charge. I want to be in control of my feelings for this other person. How can I get my control back? Okay, let me cheat on the other person. Unrealizingly being attracted to other people, unrealizingly kind of doing things which sabotage the relationship, but consciously feeling that I really wanted the love. And we may be in a denial. We may say, no, I wanted love. I definitely wanted love. But we may even stop making a bid for connection with our partner. So our partner is in the same room. I may do something as subtle as the moment my partner's in the room, open my phone and get completely absorbed in the phone screen, on my screen, and I have no attention to give to my partner. But after doing this for enough number of times, the partner stops trying to make conversation with me. And then I can turn around and say, you never talk to me. We don't ever talk to each other. We don't have a conversation. So these are subtle ways in which we stop making bid for connections or even responding to our partner's bids for connection. This is reminding me of this a person one time I was counseling, and she called me up to say that, my husband is an alcoholic, and I go to work, I come back late. Whatever time I come back, he's so drunk that I can't have a real conversation. And it's obvious that her husband has blocks. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want love with to create a sense of love, bonding, connection, belongingness with his partner. But I also, when I looked under the surface and when I had a deeper conversation with her, I realized she kept saying, I'm a workaholic, I'm a workaholic. And that she was saying it very proudly that, he's a alcoholic, but I'm a workaholic. And then I reminded her that you're still a holic, and you're still, he may be resorting to alcohol to avoid real connection, but you are unknowingly, subconsciously resorting to being a workaholic to avoid a real connection. So even though we may sometimes feel it's the partner that is not ready for a real connection, we don't realize that we ourselves are not ready for a real connection. And we are kind of putting the blame on the partner because it just takes responsibility away from us. And that's the easier thing to do. So these are the two ways. The third way in which fear manifests in our relationship is when we start looking needy in the relationship to the extent of being a people pleaser, to the extent of being a perfectionist, and perfectionist for our own self. So, how can I be better? How can I appear to be a better partner, even at the cost of not being my authentic self? That is not love. We may think it is love. We may think I've sacrificed, we say, I've sacrificed everything to make this relationship work. I sacrificed all my friendships to make this relationship work. I sacrificed my career to make this relationship work. Is that sacrifice coming from a place of love, or is that sacrifice coming from a place of fear? If we look deep down inside, we'll realize that it is the fear of losing the other person, because we cannot love another any more than we love ourselves. So, to the extent that I love myself, to the extent that I accept myself. And when I talk about accept myself, I talk about accepting my flaws, being aware of my flaws and accepting them. And not saying I'm not going to work on them, but they are there and I accept them. And even to be able to work on them, I have to accept them first. If I go into denial, then there is no way that I can work on my flaws. So, being aware and then accepting them and loving myself irrespective of my flaws is real love for myself. And when I have come to that point where I love myself for exactly as I am, is when I will be able to give that same love to my partner. So, if I haven't accepted myself for who I am, there's a very good chance that I'm going to be a people pleaser. I'm going to say, okay, I'm ready to bend backwards to make this work. Now, to make this more clear and how this affects the relationship for the worse, I'm going to give an example of a client who came to me saying that my partner has been blaming me for things that I haven't done, blaming me for speaking to a relative about our family or some such thing which according to her she hadn't done. And I kept asking her what prevents her from presenting the truth. And she kept saying, there's enough stress going on, and if I bring this up, if I bring the third party in, if I try and create any clarification, there's going to be 10 new things to deal with, and I don't want to deal with it. I can't. She's so scared. It's fear. that she's not even letting her truth come out. She's not even finding her voice. She's not even being able to speak. And to the extent that she's not being able to love and accept herself, how can the people around her love and accept her? How can the universe love and accept her? And in this way, spirituality and romantic love, spiritual love and romantic love are exactly identical. It is completely true, authentic, honest love. There's no difference. And then, so this is what happens. I think these are the fears which lead people to be together, technically together sometimes. Sometimes they break up, sometimes they are still together. And then we see people sitting together, looking at their phones, not talking to each other, completely disconnected. And that's the end of, truly the end of the relationship, and they can continue to pretend that it is love. An example of fear preventing love, I would say, I would give my own example. I lost my dog. And since it was a devastating time for me. I went into kind of a depression for a few days, and I couldn't speak, I couldn't eat. And I decided that, dogs leave too early. I'm not going to be um, too close to a dog ever again. And now it's like, even even at my best friend's place, if there's a dog, I just don't pet him. I feel like petting him. I feel like reaching out to him, but I don't. And it's an opportunity lost for love, for the fear of losing love eventually, or for the fear of the hearts breaking. But as they say, the broken-hearted are amongst the bravest among us, because they dared to love. If you think you're worth it, the universe around you will respond accordingly. Till the time you don't think you're worth it, you're not going to get the love of your life. Inauthenticity in relationships leads to greater rejection and exclusion, although it buys short term peace. True belonging needs that you belong to yourself so deeply that you can share your most authentic self with others and find peace in being a part of something and yet standing out bravely. So sometimes my truth may not be acceptable to my partner. But can I be authentic and say, this is me? I'm willing to change, but this is me. If I pretend to not be what I am, then I'm not belonging. I'm not forming a connection. I'm just somehow fitting in. It's a fake fitting in. And that's what we do when we start saying we must love unconditionally. We think we are belonging, but we don't. We are just fitting in, and there's a huge difference. So we'll take a 5-minute break and address some questions at this point. Any questions? So we're good, right?
Just wanted to, you were talking about cheating and all those stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I've been in touch with few people who is doing this thing around, and and I've been asking question about it. Someone says because they are not getting what they want from their husband, what's the harm in getting it from outside?
Yeah.
And and as in my family, there's a case which has happened where she also did the same thing and she got caught, and divorce happened and all those things. So I'm a little bit confused. Is it okay to get some love outside if you're not getting from the person, but from your husband, or it's not? Like, I know cheating is wrong, but if you're not
See,
getting what you want, then what you should do?
yeah, if firstly there has to be a real effort to connect with your partner. And
If it's
that
not happening,
then there should be a real effort to tell him that this is over and I need to find somebody else. At least be authentic.
but you don't want to break the family, right?
Right? So then it should again be something like, okay, we may still need to be co-partners or co-parents or what have you. So the family needs to continue. But let's be clear that this is not any longer a partnership, a connection, a loving relationship to the true sense between us. It's authenticity. And without that authenticity, no one is going to be happy. Even the cheating partner cannot be happy.
Or somewhere where how she was talking, it was like, it find me little bit convincing कि थोड़े time की like थोड़ी खुशी के लिए इतना भी कर लिया तो क्या गलत है, like, you know.
It's at least authentic happiness, but even her relationship with her current spouse needs to be authentic.
But when she has given her best, is still like, you know.
Yeah. So then are they
And
are
and and she loves her family a lot. She, because she doesn't want to break the family. She doesn't want, you know, all those things happen.
that's fine. Did she tell her partner in so many words that, okay, now we are not working out as a couple, but we are going to continue to work out as a family?
No, I haven't asked that to her.
Yeah. So for her own peace, she needs to be that authentic.
Yeah.
If she doesn't bring that up, she's going to be having to share herself with two people, or she's going to have to fake a connection with her husband.
Yeah, she has lost the connection with her husband in some way, you know, where I
Yeah.
felt that.
Then
Yeah.
in any case, it's probably clear to both partners that it's over. We're sleeping in separate rooms. We are bringing up the kids together.
Okay.
So then, yeah, it's love doesn't need social approval.
But
Or
then she argues with, I told her the same thing. You have to be authentic and all, but she says, you can't, why can't you love two person? Well, this kind of questions comes up when I'm talking to
you
someone.
can love two people, but it won't be the same as it's a completely different kind of love where you love somebody because he's the father of your children. And it's completely different when you love somebody in a truly authentic manner where that person is your best friend, is the person you tell everything to, is the person who truly has your back. And if she had genuinely felt that love from her partner, she wouldn't have cheated, which is why she's saying she's cheated, right? So she can't
Neha,
describe.
Neha, I feel trust and a sense of some kind of commitment is the foundation of love.
It
So
is
once that goes, then there is hardly any connection left.
exactly. So
So
trust.
actually, I think what happens, what I can read out of this situation, for example, is that often the woman faces a very serious dilemma, which is that if she discloses to her husband very clearly and tells him in no uncertain terms that since it's not working out between the two of us, I am going to go ahead, or I am in another relationship.
There doesn't have to
Because
be full disclosure.
the disclosure, with the disclosure, is obviously the fear that that man might just say, then there is no point living together. And she doesn't want to lose the family. She still wants the family unit to continue.
Correct. So in this
So
case,
the plain speaking thing often doesn't happen, I think, and women, I think, suffer for years on end, years on end.
yeah,
Yeah,
no, but
people
that's
just
where
say,
I am saying that she does need to stand up for what is authentic to her, even if she doesn't volunteer all the information about what's going on in her life to her current spouse. She would be in complete violation of her own self-respect and her own trust if she's faking certain things with her current spouse, despite the fact that she's gone on to love another partner.
But then the main issue is
Mm-hmm.
that women often do not have the guts to say something like that. You
Again,
know,
I think it's not to
so
say.
you need, but Neha, unless you know what kind of a relationship it is if you two humans are living in the same house
Yeah.
and absolutely going their separate ways. So you know, even that situation becomes rather very
I think,
I would say unhealthy
yes.
for the family.
So that's
You
what,
know,
that's why
it's
I'm,
a very it's a situation which is very very difficult to define and to bring back things to normal as though everything is fine, you know. I think, and it impacts the whole family
so
deeply,
we can't
deeply.
discuss this particular couple for
Yeah,
long,
yeah, yeah.
but the only thing I would like to repeat is that for one's own peace of mind, the important thing is to be true to oneself, which we are often not. It doesn't require us to be to overshare. It doesn't require us to overshare, but it does require us to respect our own selves completely and to be honest to our own selves. So if she is not feeling like doing certain things with her partner, her current ex-partner in a way, or the current spouse, that she has to be firm about. That's authentic to her. And she may, if she's violating her own needs, if she's violating her own desires, trying to be with two people at the same time when her heart lies with one, that's a complete violation of her authentic true self. That's where love will not occur between anybody. She may currently feel that she's found a new partner. That's also not going to last. Yeah. So Jaya says internal conflict leads to misery in relationships. This internal conflict eventually will lead to the demise of both relationships. Authenticity is the only way to be, and it is a very brave way to be. It is not easy, but it is the only way to be. When you're authentic to yourself, is when you're authentic to your relationships. True belonging does not require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. So it's exactly what you know, it's not true belonging till the time you are not who you are. If you are faking to be somebody else with any one partner, it's not a true belonging. So you can keep saying it's still love, but it's not true. It's got a sense of attachment to it, not love. We can keep giving it the name of love, but it may have a small proportion of love with maybe 80% attachment, 20% love, but it's not complete love. And we have to accept that, at least to ourselves. Yes. How can we cultivate love in relationships? So as Pratiksha says, how to cultivate self-love. Now, the way to cultivate love in our relationships is through cultivating self-love. Allowing ourselves to be vulnerable in our authenticity is the only way to create love and connection. Because we are so scared of being vulnerable. There is always insecurity, the fear of rejection. We are ourselves, there's a voice in our head which is criticizing us, shaming us, shaming us for our abilities, shaming us for our physical presence. And that voice takes over, that insecurity, the personal insecurity. So, a lot of us, even the ones who are very confident otherwise, have quite a high level of personal insecurity. The opposite of that is self security. Self security is the open and non judgmental acceptance of one's own weaknesses. This is a quote by Alice Wong. And like I said, we can only love and accept others to the extent that we love and accept our own self, without feeling any shame for who we are, our flaws. Loving ourselves allows us to be seen and known as our most powerful self without an apology, and as our most vulnerable self without feeling stupid, shameful about it. Only a self loving person can be present in a loving bond with trust, respect, kindness, and affection. To the extent that we betray the self love, we betray our relationships with others, and we betray our most important relationships. Where there is lack of self love, there is shame, blame, disrespect, and betrayal. First, we shame ourselves. First, we blame ourselves. First, we disrespect our own self. And first, we betray our own selves. And that same behavior then goes into all our relationships. And we can keep on justifying it and saying so many things. But unless we are 100% in respect and trust for our own selves, we cannot offer it to another or to our relationships. We need to belong to our own self first. And any belonging that asks us to betray our own self is not a true belonging. So we have to accept that that is that fake belonging, that inauthentic belonging is not a real belonging. We can keep saying that it is authentic belonging. Yes, so as Pratiksha said, we have to work on self-love. We have to work on growing. Now, another reason why we need relationships, it's like a vicious circle. So we have to grow to enter a good relationship, but a good relationship or a strong relationship is what helps us to grow, because it is in a strong relationship that we are able to self assess the best. So for true self assessment, it's like I could sit in a cave and meditate for 20 years and I could seem very peaceful. And I come out and one person slaps me. And suddenly my inner anger comes out and I want to slap back. And I'm thinking, oh, for 20 years I was peaceful. What just happened? Because you have to interact with others, you have to connect with others to understand what triggers you, what is really you. How can you evolve and grow through your learnings from your relationships? And that is why our close connections and partners are our greatest teachers and gurus. It's always said that your closest partner is probably the one who is hurting you the most, is also your greatest guru, because they are leaving you with a message of what it is that you need to work on to be able to connect better with others and what it is that you need to work on to be able to connect better with your own self. This is best learned through our closest relationships, which is also why our closest relationships are our biggest triggers. So, same thing if a neighbor says, it may not trigger you. But if your partner says the same thing, it may trigger you. It doesn't matter. You're not close enough to the neighbor. So the neighbor is not able to tap into your deepest insecurities or fears or whatever it may be. But the moment the partner says it, because you are emotionally connected, that is why they are able to trigger you so easily. And that is why they are your greatest teachers. That is why you can learn through them what are the things that you need to work on in yourself. In this aspect, I would say that relationships are great teachers in the sense that, and also it's a take on spirituality here, that a lot of times, spirituality will tell you it's good to be a certain way, like let's say compassionate, loving, helpful, etc. Now we know what is a behavior which is the exact opposite of that, which is the far enemy of that emotion. So, for instance, compassion is a great emotion to feel. Then the far enemy is clearly something like cruelty. We know that, okay, we should be compassionate, we should not be cruel. That's clear. In a relationship, we learn how we use near enemies. So, for instance, when we say we love somebody, the love is the good emotion to feel. When we say we hate somebody, at least we know that now we have leant towards the far enemy. Somewhere in between is the near enemy, which is attachment. Now, here, attachment is very easy to disguise as love. So we don't even realize that we are not acting out of love, we are acting out of attachment. So we are very happy. We are doing something loving for you. We're not even realizing that we're doing something hateful towards you. But it is in this near enemy, when we realize, when we see through our relationships that certain acts are not out of love, but out of attachment. That's a mirror to ourselves through the relationship. And that's when we start working on ourselves through the relationship. So I'll try and give you some more examples of near enemies to make it more easy to understand. For instance, being helping with your partner or helpful towards your partner. The opposite would be, I don't care about my partner. So that's the far enemy, and that's easy to see. However, the near enemy that we use with our partners, even children, we use this a lot with our children. I care about you. That is why I'm telling you what you should do. So we use statements like this. I care about you. That is why I'm telling you, you should sleep at this time. You should wake up at this time. You should eat this. You should not eat this. You should eat at this particular time, not eat at this particular time. This is a near enemy. It is still something we are doing to control the people we claim to love. But this is actually not love. We're just claiming to love that person. And we are also feeling good. See, I care about you. That's why I'm telling you what to do. These are the things which we need to see in ourselves, identify in ourselves. If we are triggering our partner, if certain behavior is triggering our partner, we need to see, are we acting out of love or are we acting out of fear? Fear of losing the person, fear of losing control. And that's how we keep working on our own selves. Humility, for example. Now, humility is defined as an openness to new learning with a balanced assessment of our strengths and imperfections. Now, what is the obvious far enemy of humility? Arrogance, unwilling to learn, unwilling to grow. But the near enemy of humility, and we will claim that it is such a good quality. See, he said this, I didn't even respond. No, it is that extreme meekness and letting people walk all over you. That is not humility. That is the near enemy of humility, which we start telling ourselves, this is my spiritual growth. I'm a spiritual person, so I'm doing this. But this is where we misunderstand spirituality. Should I be offering more examples?
Neha, just repeat what you just said about
You want to
last,
the
just the last two sentences.
the
Yeah.
near enemy. The near enemy is something which comes in the guise of a good emotion. It is a disguised enemy. It is actually not a good emotion. So, for example, I'm going to give you another example. I am feeling compassion for this person right now. Is a good feeling. I look at this person and I'm feeling no compassion. Maybe even I want to hurt this as a person. Now we know that we are in a fear. We are in a far enemy. We have reached our far enemy state. But somewhere in between of compassion and lack of complete lack of compassion, there is an in between feeling called pity. Now I may be pitying this person. Oh, very bad has happened with you. Shouldn't have happened. The moment I utter these sentences, I am not being empathetic. I am coming from a place of superiority. I'm disconnected. I'm showing pity towards the other person. The other person is literally feeling foolish in that moment. I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm not feeling you. I'm just like, okay, too bad. Now can we talk about the next thing? It's pity. So that's the near enemy. But we keep believing that we are being a spiritually good person or feeling a spiritually good emotion when we are feeling an emotion which is a near enemy. So pity seems like compassion, but it isn't. We just feel like we are being good because we are feeling pity. Near enemy is like a controlling energy sometimes, but basically it is a fake feeling which is coming in the disguise of a good feeling for the other person. Okay, love and possessiveness. So a lot of times when we love somebody, we also start feeling a sense of possessiveness towards them. And that's that part where we are feeling possessive about our partner, where we want to make sure that, let's say, they don't go to a party and enjoy themselves without me. That's not love. That is possessiveness. But sometimes when a partner says, I'd rather you come to dinner with me than go out for this party, we can misunderstand it as love. So that feeling of possessiveness is actually the near enemy, which is coming in the guise of love. What's wrong? All I wanted to do was spend time with you. Isn't that love? I'm not indifferent to you. It's not like, okay, I don't care where you go, what you do. So obviously I care about you. So near enemy comes as a disguised evil sister of a good emotion. And these are the feelings that we get the chance to look into ourselves. When are we leaning towards the near enemy when we are in a relationship? Questions?
Neha,
Yeah.
you actually spoke about humanistic love and spiritual love. So are these two different concepts or different forms
I
of
never
love?
said humanistic. I said romantic love sometimes we think is different from spiritual love, but
Okay.
they are actually the same.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Just more intense when it's romantic.
Okay.
Yeah, we unconsciously, that's right, Richa. We unconsciously end up using the near enemy. And we also tend to feel we all do it, or we are victims of it, but we all do it. That we end up acting out of the near enemy without sometimes even realizing that we're acting out of the near enemy. But our relationship is the best place to find that out. Also, I see one question here which says how to work on self-love, but that is going to be quite a few sessions. I can't possibly cover it in one session, but very briefly speaking, self-love is exactly the same. It requires exactly the same things as what you require to love another. So trust yourself, respect yourself, care about yourself. That's self-love. Be honest to yourself. And that's how it will keep growing. Love language is actually part of relationships, how we should manage them, and that will be covered. So I was going to announce, I'll make an announcement now. We'll have 4 more sessions uh, every Saturday. Uh, these will cover how to come across as our authentic selves. Love language will also be a part of this. How to manage conflicts in relationships, the best way to manage conflicts in relationships. Uh, what else are we covering in these sessions? Um, yeah. So I'm putting up a slide to explain. Love language actually needs at least a good half an hour, and we should do it in depth. And that helps. Understanding of love languages is very helpful in navigating a lot of issues in relationships. Yeah, so understanding love languages is the second session, the next session. Understanding the 4 predictors which lead to the death of a relationship. So there are 4 typical behaviors which will inevitably, this is as per a research scientist on relationships. What are the 4 behaviors? How can you avoid the 4 behaviors? Should love be unconditional or should I have boundaries? What is better for my relationship? Does having boundaries go against spirituality? Not at all. Having boundaries is exactly like being a truly spiritual person. So it is what I said about uh, being somebody who lets people walk all over them or be a doormat versus being having genuine humility. So genuine humility is a facet of actual spirituality. But when we let people walk all over us, it is not a spiritual behavior. We just misunderstand it and think that it is a spiritual behavior. So yes, boundaries definitely are essential, but we will discuss it as to what's the best way to establish boundaries and learning conflict management. That's the session number 5, if we count today as the first session. We'll have a 1 hour session followed by question and answers. So these are going to be 4 paid sessions. So the other 4 sessions are paid sessions. For those who sign in today, they are priced at these are priced at 3,500. Sorry, 399 only. And if there's the last day of signing in would be Friday, the charge will go up to 499. 4,999. Yeah. So and this will also include one like a personal one-to-one therapy session or a counseling session, as you may call it. So this is what it is. To do this, if you'd like to enroll for this, you could use my phone number for GPay or what's it called, Paytm, whichever works for you. So we will be talking about love languages in our next session. You could also take a screenshot of this scan code, so you, in case you decide to make a payment little later. And preferably, if you could send a personal message to me, then I can add all the participants to one group. So yeah, now can we have more questions? My phone number, I'm putting it on the chat.
Neha, these sessions will be recorded in case we miss it. Since you're
Yes.
planning Saturday, I was just wondering if we can do it on Sundays instead of Saturday.
So I thought Saturdays are more comfortable, but if most participants prefer Sunday, then I'm happy to.
I mean, Sunday this time is good, but Saturday usually, you're
Yeah, so
out or
I'll take a
something.
vote on all
Yeah.
participants, and I'm not being able to share my phone number. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, I'll discuss this, and once the group is formed, and between Saturday or Sunday, we'll choose any one day. But
Okay.
we'll stick to the weekend because weekdays are usually not a popular option. So it'll definitely be between Saturday and Sunday. Any questions on today's session? Yeah. Anything that anybody else would like to add, say? Anything anybody would like to share?
Yeah, Neha, I'd like to share.
Ah.
Yeah, it has been a wonderful session. Only thing that is not clear to me is what you were talking about near enemy and that those emotions. It's not very clear.
Okay. I'm going to give you the example of your daughter. I know you have a daughter.
Yeah.
And when you love her, you may say that, okay, let's say, I'm committed to focusing on you. Okay. So whatever makes you happy, I'm committed to focusing on that. If it helps you to have a certain truth before you sleep, I'm going to provide that for you. But now suddenly I also have power because I am the mother and you are the daughter. So when I start kind of using that power, for example, so near enemy can be for different emotions. It's not for one emotion. It's not always. Every major emotion has a near enemy. Every major good emotion, the spiritual emotion, has a near enemy. It is just coming as a subtle and guised form of the good emotion. So in the way of, we do this a lot to our children. We all do it. I care about you. So, for instance, I'm going to say, I care about you. Now, caring comes without interference. Caring is unconditional. Caring is not, oh, I'm snatching your phone at 9 o'clock and you better be in bed by 10. Caring is communicating that I think screen time is not good for you, especially after 9 p.m., especially when you have a school to attend tomorrow. However, I'm not going to impose this on you. I'm going to help you. If it helps you that I read a story to you at 9 o'clock, I'll do that. If it helps you to have a more active day routine in the daytime, go for a sport. If that helps you to sleep earlier, I'm there with you. But it doesn't include saying something like, because I care about you, so I'm going to control what you do with your life. And that when we do the other things, we do them as if we are operating from a good emotion. So in our heart, we are feeling good that, oh, I did something good for the other person. So it becomes a like masquerading, like a mask to operate out of fear and control, but pretend that we are operating out of a good emotion. And we do this the most in our close relationships.
Yeah, but what I learned till now about the emotion is, see, your good emotions make you feel good, bad emotions make you feel bad. So whenever I'm acting out of some bad emotion, it will make me feel bad immediately, isn't it?
Bad emotion is the far enemy.
Hmm.
So, for example, okay, Puneet has also put the same question up. So in this case, if I'm going to be as a mother and say, ki, do what you want, watch as much screen as you want to watch, destroy your health, I don't care. That's an obvious far enemy. Then I will feel bad about myself. The fun thing about near enemy is that it's a very disguised emotion. I can actually feel good that I did this for the other person, but it's hurting the other person, it's hurting the relationship. So I can impose, I want to spend time with you, don't go out with your friends, come and have lunch with me today. As a mother, can't I even ask this much out of you? And it's a guised way of controlling the child. It's a guised way of
So
possess
I
the child, having expectations from the child or having expectations from your partner. But it's coming in the form of, I love you, so I want to spend more time with you. But actually, it's not creating an authentic connection. It's not creating an authentic relationship.
so any control, any expectation is a disguised emotion, you mean?
Any control, any
And expectations.
is not a positive emotion in any relationship.
Yes, well, many times what happens is I feel it, like suppose I am doing this control, another person definitely feel that she's controlling, but most of the times we don't feel. That's what you want to say, isn't it?
Most of the times we don't feel.
Like suppose I'm controlling my daughter,
Hmm.
she feels that I'm controlling her.
Yes,
But
yes.
I don't feel that I'm controlling her.
Yes, but that's where the relationship helps. A close relationship helps you because you are feeling that you're being kind only or you're being
Yes.
loving only. Then, when you get feedback from your daughter that I thought this was too much, you were controlling me, it gives you a chance to look into yourself and understand, was that an act of love for the other person? Or was that an act that came out of fear within me or an insecurity within me? Or she will get busy with her friends, she will forget about me, she will not care about me. I've done so much for her all my life. Now she's busy with her friends, she doesn't even take time out for lunch. Is that love? No, it's my insecurity. but I am disguising it as love for my child and projecting it like that. So we have to be aware, and there will be times in relationships we are not 100% loving. There will be times when we will act out of insecurity. But at least become aware and work towards being more and more loving. That's how relationships help in self-growth. And that's why they are extremely critical, especially our relationship with our closest partner. That's a biggest reflection of you. So people ask me this, that they say likes attract. People say, but some people say opposites attract. What is true? So anybody wants to take that? What is true? And okay, so our 1 hour is over. Anybody who wants to log out can log out, because now we're only going to be interacting.
I think nothing is true. We get attracted to particular relationship to work out our karmas.
Neha, I would like to contribute here when you say likes and opposites. So I mean, my point of view is they are engagers and they are achievers. Yeah, so a deep desire in most of us is to have an engaging relationship, right? But the mind says we want an achiever. Yeah,
Achiever in the partner
achiever.
or achiever in ourselves, or what?
Yeah, it's internally as well as outside. So when it's an engage, for example, if you're talking about a partner, most of us, we like to be loved, as you mentioned. Yeah, so engagement comes in true love. Yeah, but then all these worldly desires and the kind of beliefs that we are, programmed with, we end up finding a achiever. Achiever who is like, doing well in life, successful, and all of that. Yeah.
So that is just that when we do that, we are not being authentic to ourselves, and we are not
Right.
being authentic to the connection.
Yes.
We
Yes.
chose a fake connection for a certain comfort, and that's fine. At least to accept that we did that instead of pretending that it is a very authentic connection.
So, yeah. So I mean, I also do coaching, but I'm not. My forte is not relationship coaching. But whenever there's something which comes up, I always ask them, what does your heart say and what does your mind say? And there's always a mismatch. So the heart says we want an engager जो हमें बहुत प्यार करे and always with us. But then the mind says no, no, no. We have so many desires, which is the
My
responsibility.
daughters have posed the same question to me, and I always tell them that if you are in a good space emotionally, nothing can prevent you from being an achiever in life. So everything else will come. But
Yes.
be in an authentic place, be in a real place, be in a good emotional space. That's your main concern. It doesn't mean, I'm not trying to say money is not important, comforts are not important. They are important. They will come. They cannot escape you when you're in a mental and emotionally you're in a good space.
Today's this 1 hour session was it was super light, as if everything just went, and it was so powerful, so powerful.
Thank you. I usually tend to stir up a lot of things in people in my session, and it can sometimes disturb people. But I think that's also important for growth.
Yeah, and then you know what? It is like food for thoughts.
Yeah.
Like I know now I have so much to mull over.
Yeah.
The close enemies, the near enemies is something
Especially near enemies would trigger something in most people, because we all do this. So, but hopefully then we can act with more consciousness going forward. So
yeah, I'm looking forward. Yeah.
so to answer the question of like and dislike, opposites attract or like attracts. So
Can I say something, Neha?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my contention is, I think both it happens, often happens that opposites attract each other, and many times people with absolutely similar interests and similar personalities also attract each other. I think it's true for both. But at the end of the day, for any relationship to continue in a happy space, I think what finally happens is that there is a certain level of understanding between the partners. And even if their qualities or their professions or their even emotional makeup may be very, very different, still there will eventually be some common ground on which they would agree upon, or I would say they are ready to listen to each other, they are ready to I would say accept each other with all their whatever positives and of course limitations.
Yeah, the
And the same, but then yes, there
the
would
common
be a
ground
common bond of, should
in
I
a
say, love,
relationship.
should I say companionship, should I say give and take,
So every
whatever you can say on
relationship
that.
will bring us pain and
Correct.
heartbreak.
Obviously,
It is to the
definitely.
extent we are willing to work around it that relationships are successful.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
If we
Totally.
and actually two people who can pull each other in the, who are kind of like the perfect fits because they are mirror images. So they are like and they are opposites because they are mirror images. That's what I feel happens in relationships, that people attract each other because they are mirror images of each other. So they're not exactly opposite and they're not exactly alike.
Totally, totally. Definitely. Very correct. Very
The
correct.
basic need is the same, or the basic insecurities are the same. That is why they came together. But they are shown in the relationship, they come out in a mirror image way. So, for instance, a person who is, I gave an example of this lady who said, my husband is an alcoholic. And he is also scared of making a greater commitment to the relationship, and he's taken to alcoholism because he doesn't want to connect to the relationship or to himself. She's on the surface looking like somebody who wants to connect and have a deeper relationship, but doesn't realize that she has the same insecurity, which is why she's a workaholic and which is why she chose an alcoholic. Actually, the alcoholic is her safe space because he's not going to be available for a greater connection. And that's probably deep down inside, subconsciously, what she wanted anyway. But she thinks he's the opposite. So it's actually mirror images. Yeah,
absolutely right. Second thing, like we often talk about, we must give each other space. Partners must give each other space. But I personally feel that that space sometimes turns into a big chasm or big divide. So that space also needs to be an involved space where you are at least
where there is love, it will
yeah,
be involved.
a loving involved space where at least you are worried or you are at least bothered about each other, at what is happening in the other person, what is that other person involved in. So I think that's what makes the relationship a very I would say harmonious, where you nurture each other with care and love.
Yes. So
Yeah,
one last question. If
Thank
anybody has a question, we'll take one last question and then we'll log out. Usually all our sessions in the future will be, the next 4 sessions will be like this. Technically 1 hour, but our question answers go on for about half an hour, 15 minutes. Okay, I think we are done now. So Yes. So look forward to seeing you in the next 4 sessions. And a reminder that we will have include a single one-to-one session in this. If you're not able to enroll today for some reason, you do have the option of enrolling tomorrow. It'll be just 1,000 more. That's it. Okay then. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you so much.
Have a good evening.
Thanks a lot, my dear. Okay, good night. Good night.